Hello, everyone. I am back. I hope everyone's doing good today. So we just got done talking about, the breaking down of the game and storing it. So that ran a little bit long, so I'm sorry. So hopefully we can be more brisk. But I've got some good news for you right now. We're going to talk about this loot deck. So this will go on for a little bit, but I think you're going to find this very, very interesting. And I'm really excited to share that with you. But guess what? We have a special guest in the house tonight, and they're dying to meet you. And I think you want to meet them. So I hope you're ready. They're wearing their best attire for you. So everyone, welcome to the Ancient Runes setup with some special guests in the dungeon tonight. Over here in the Well of Eternity area, we got a Blackwood Prowler. Going way up north in the Halls of the Dead, east and west, we got a couple Wraiths. We have our Valiant Heroes at the Siege tile right here. Don't those things look awesome? I mean, come on. I really love those miniatures. Down here in the Pit of Darkness quadrant, we have a couple Skeletal Grunts. Skeleton Warriors are my favorite fantasy monster. We have the Guardian Banevic. Everything you're seeing painted by the amazing Freddie Lopez. So there's one of 8 Guardians, that's Banevic. And then last but not least, we have a not-so-pleasant Orc Siegebreaker in the Cesspool area. And he is in the Cesspool North area. So there you go. I thought you would really like to see the Ancient Runes board set up with all the doors and everything. So there you go. I hope you like that. So what I'm doing here, I'm sitting down actually, and I thought I'd give you a nice view, nice vista of the dungeon as we talk about loot. I thought it would be pretty appropriate. So let's get on with this. I'm very excited to share this with you. And like anything, this was paramount because I said, I absolutely love these games, and I wanted to create a massive pile of loot for all of us to enjoy, when we explore, and hopefully when we kill a monster, and hopefully we get one or buy it from the blacksmith shop. So I have this huge loot deck, and I hope I don't drop. So I think the format, what we're going to do is, and I hope you like this. I mean, I hope you like hearing about all this. I'm going to break it down, and we're going to show you a little bit. No spoilers, I promise. We're not going to go through everything. But I'll show you a couple things that'll pique your interest, and it's all good. So let me get this thing over here and try to finagle the different tiers. Bear with me, I get this. Okay, I'm going to put it to the side and then discuss it. Okay, well, let me just tell you, there's 9 tiers of loot. Okay, there's junk loot, and there's no color to it, but it's just, there's junk loot, and then there's starting gear, that's gray, that's what the heroes start the game with, and then there's common, which is white, and then there's uncommon, which is green, then there is rare, which is blue, and then there's epic, that is purple, orange is legendary, and then we get up to a really awesome tier of loot called fabled gear. And I'm going to show you a few pieces of this, but fabled gear is some of the most powerful stuff in the game, and they're weapons. And all of the weapons belong to the characters in the story I wrote for Dungeon Crusade. So we'll look at some stuff, Emperor Sylvian's weapon, and Renosis, and Hano Lithgar. So that's gold level. That's called fabled gear. And then the most deadly weapons in the game, and that is hellaciously powerful, underworld artifacts, and that's a black level. Very wicked stuff, but I think you'll dig it. So let's start out with junk. Now I'm not going to show you all of it, and I'm going to tell you why I created this. And I put this is some of my humor I threw into it. So right here we can see we have a helmet and a skull. And again, all of this stuff you can find in treasure chests in the dungeon. Monsters might drop this after you slay them. on when the blacksmith gets new gear into a shop. If he gets any junk loot, it's just put back into the loot deck, reshuffled. But for instance, here is a helmet and skull, and the flavor text says, "What a great helmet." Sorry, I got to make sure you can see that. Hopefully it stays in the focus. But what a great helmet, but the skull is fused within the helmet and won't budge. So, and it's just junk. It is absolutely worthless. Show you one more. Remember, keep skull. Remember when we looked at Skulljack? Old playing cards. And the text for that is flavor text. These stained and damaged cards are believed to be from the House of Chance for the game Skulljack. So again, like tying in all of this stuff, making it more thematic for you. So that's another piece of junk loot. And I'll show you one more. This is a funny. I think you know how much I got into the land of Avalon. Well, the kids of Avalon have a game that they play, and I actually wrote instructions for this on like an old parchment paper. And they play a game called Beat the Troll. And it's basically, I won't get into the instructions. It's pretty funny though. But these kids go around with these clubs and they play Beat the Troll with their friends. So this is a fairly heavy club used by the children of Avalon to play a game with friends called Beat the Troll. And there's that. And so that's the last, the bottom tier is junk loot. And I'm going to tell you why I created that really quick. Should I? Well, yeah, I'll tell you. You're not guaranteed. Oh, and everything you see, let me say, 193 pieces of loot. And, I created all the names for it, the lore, the flavor text, the damage output, all that stuff. And the amazing Sean Ellis and Kesrick Lassen created the art for it. And Sean did the cards for me, and I arranged everything, and I put it all together. So I wanted to say that first, though, the amazing artists. So while I named it all, they painted it all, and I said just envision whatever you're thinking when I give you the title. So the reason is junk loot, and what I love about this game is that you're never guaranteed. Your heroes are never guaranteed to get shiny loot on every single kill. And you're going to see about the loot and gold roll. So you're never guaranteed that when you kill a monster, or you're going to get a piece of rare gear, you're going to get epic, legendary, or fabled gear. It's not like that. You don't know. The monsters of Dungeon Crusade could be carrying just junk around, and it's worthless. So if you picture it, say you go into a chamber and you had a hard battle with like 3 heroes, and one of them perished, and you killed this elite level 4 monster, and it dropped, boots of stench. Yeah, that's junk. It's nothing. That's the way Dungeon Crusade is. You'll never ever know what you're going to find in the dungeons and the chests all over Avalon. It could be just total junk. And I love that about this game. So, but then again, you could find the Dagger of Dark Rituals. Sean Ellis, I'm trying to get this so it doesn't fuzz out. Take a look at that. This is an epic piece of gear, or epic tier. If the blacksmith has it, it'll be 700 gold, plus 3 damage, and then plus 2 to mythical warfare rolls. And the flavor text is, this dagger was discovered deep within the Vile Tower. So I wrote all this unique flavor text. And if you remember when we looked at over there at the map of Avalon, the Vile Tower is kind of like right down there. So again, just tying in all of this awesome lore. So when you read that, you're like, oh, I remember seeing the Vile Tower. So Sean Ellis that is just a wicked freaking dagger. Look at that. So then again, so there we go. You could find a Beat the Troll club, or you could find an awesome, epic piece of gear. You'll never know what you find in the dungeons, and I freaking love that about this game. Truly love it. Okay, so I'm glad I said all that. We're going to move on now. This is all your starting gear. Yeah. So here's all of the starting gear for the heroes. Gray level and like a battered claymore. I think that belongs to Sir Brennus. Dull stiletto, apprentice staff, I think that's Zeke's. But we'll just take a look at this. But you can see, look at the crystals at the top. That'll tell you what it is. So that is, this is gray level stuff. I'm gonna set that over here. Let's take a look at Maheliak's hero card. There's Maheliak here. Side note, remember we were talking about warfare values? We can see here, he's a barbarian, right? Oh, Freddie Lopez, look at that art. Just amazing. We can see he excels at chaos warfare. He's a barbarian, very versed in that. He's also good in physical with swords. However, you can see he's terrible in arcane. And it makes sense, right? Barbarians are just not, good at arcane. And he's not too good with spiritual. But let me say this. What I love about Dungeon Crusade also is you could get loot in that loot deck and power gems to craft. And if you want to make Maheliak good in arcane warfare and make him more proficient, that's a good word, proficient, you can build him how you see fit. So, this is his starting, but by level 3, you could deck him out so he's good with chaos warfare and he's really good with arcane also. So it's how you wanted to play. It's what I wanted to really accomplish. Build your heroes how you see fit. So as we can see, you always look down at your hero card here and it says Primordial Axe. So the Primordial Axe, that is his starting weapon right there. And we'll just give this to him because I think we're going to do some combat. If you guys would like to see some combat with 2 heroes. Okay, moving on. This is a lot of loot to handle, so bear with me for a moment. And in the white, green, blue, purple, and orange, there's 29 unique pieces in each one. There's 10 fabled gear and 6 underworld artifacts. And so we're looking, now this is white common here, amethyst ring. And this is where, you start getting a little bit of bonuses on it. Like you get a +2 to mythical, so you want your rogue to wear this, or so it'll boost up her mythical warfare, make her even more proficient. Or even if someone is, like we looked on Maheliak, if he was bad in mythical, I think we did that in the last, didn't we do that? We showed that in one of those videos. You could equip one of the heroes with this ring that'll make him more proficient. So it's like, more protection if they have to guard, block or defend. So there's just some of the fabled dagger. There's a piece of common gear white. There's redwood staff, steel sword. So this stuff is not that great. Whisper pendant. There's where's this one I came up with and they did? There's necklaces. Let me show this. This is pretty cool. I'm going to set this one aside. I don't want to spoil all of it. I came up with this piece here, Troll's Tooth. And know this about necklaces. These are really, there we go. Necklaces are very, very good to get. Because notice there, this gives you a buff in physical. This particular piece gives you a buff in physical and chaos warfare. And you could add a +1. And then the flavor text for a Troll's Tooth, it's pretty clean. It's my little comedy lines there. So just note, necklaces are very, very good. You'd always want to get one for your hero, especially Maheliak we just looked at. If he equipped that, he could, of course, add that to his physical and chaos, and that'd make him very proficient. So I'll put that there. We're going to move into the uncommon green. Again, I hope you're enjoying this extended look at loot. And I'm having a very good time explaining all this to you. And hopefully you're getting more acclimated to the game. So, and two, I remember talking to Kez and Sean that you're going to notice as you go through all the loot, like, the common, uncommon, it doesn't look that good. But by the time we get into epic and legendary, it's like off the chart. Let's talk about charms for a second. Put this thing down. Charms are kind of costly if you have to buy them. This is what is that, 500 gold. But what all charms do, and there's 5 charms. You know, there's common, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. What's nice about charms is, though, as you can see, this one, it will give you a plus 3 to these following attributes. So, you know, you can add plus 3 to your hero's strength, willpower, wisdom, agility, hide, and evade. So charms are very good to pick up, and especially if you can get like an epic or a legendary charm, you'll have a very easy time, or rather your heroes will have a very easy time doing skill checks and stuff like that. So that's a little bit about charms. Look at a few other pieces here. Here's the Bow of Enchanted Souls. That would be good for your archer or your ranger hero. I think Kez made this. Check this out. Cloak of Lost Souls. Let me get this. Hopefully that comes into, look at that. Isn't that awesome? Very cool. And this is awesome for your wizard, and that it gives you a plus 2 to your arcane, plus you can add plus 1 to your wisdom, to your hero's wisdom. But like we were talking about Mahaliak, here's something to consider. See how he's not proficient in arcane? Right there, hopefully it comes into focus. So you can see it. It's, you know, it's in the negatives. You could equip him with this, and you make him more proficient. So see, there's always some different ways that you can, do stuff with your hero. There's baneful armor. That gives you a buff to your mythical warfare. And let's see. How about that? Well, that's fine. Outlaw Blade. And of course, I won't read all the flavor text, but you can see there's just tons of loot to have fun with. Okay, we're going to move up to Epic. You know, where's this one at? Okay, so we're in the Epic here. There's Cloak of Midnight. I'm glad this one came up. See that right there? That's a square socket, and then there's a round one. What this means is when you see a socket, you can plug in a power gem. That's when you mine and you craft inside the dungeon. You can give it to Albus to run back to the village, and the blacksmith can craft you a power gem. And it's real simple. Square power gems go into like armor. Notice, see these little icons right here? The T1, T2, Tier 3, very easy. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. Your hero has to be that level to equip and wield this stuff because it's powerful. So real simple. If it says T2 and your hero's level 1, you can't use it. You got to wait till you go to level 2. And it keeps, balanced throughout the game. But when you see these symbols, see like the helmet, that means, that's a piece of armor. And it's going to have a square socket. So you need a gem that's square to go in there. Very simple. And look here, there's the Axe of Judgment, a good chaos warfare weapon. There's the Ashwood crossbow, good for your archer or ranger. Another amulet here, Amulet of Ashara. And this one was... Ashara was the wife to Emperor Sylvian. And so, like I said, this is a really nice one. And that's, for 600 gold, you could add plus 3 to your ranged warfare and your into your chaos. And of course, the flavor text there, I shall protect you in the darkest hour. Yeah, so that's Ashara's amulet. You always want necklaces and amulets. They're very, very good. And let me see what else we can go through here. There's just so much of it. Battle Axe of the Harvester. Another chaos weapon. But you can, and again, amazing art, guys. I mean, Sean and Kez are just amazing. But you notice there's that round socket. So you know, you could put different gems in there and it's going to enhance that or, you know, enchant that for you. And I don't want to spoil everything. How about just leave just one? We looked at this one before, but that is a very good physical warfare weapon. Sword of the Fallen. And I know Sean did that one. +2 damage, and then +2 to your physical warfare rolls, and of course a socket. So there's some blue. I know this one was running long too, but I hope you're enjoying all this. We're going to go into the purple. Now you're going to start seeing what I was talking about, how they how all the stuff is going to start looking like even better, because of course it's better stuff. Here is one. Check that out. I don't know if Kez or Sean did this one, but you know, I would just give them the names of what the stuff is, and they would just create what they envision. Cloak of the Shadow Lord. And we could have +4 to arcane warfare rolls, 600 gold, but again, tier 3. So your heroes would have to be level 3 to wield something like this. So there's that. Take a look at this one. Look at that thing. Axe of Nightmares. +3 damage. And it actually has a buff, +2 towards chaos affliction checks. So if you're about to take an affliction, this will help you so you don't. And then we could add +3 to chaos warfare rolls. But again, amazing art. It's so killer. Another amulet here. Amulet of the Destroyer. Hopefully it comes into view. Look at that. And right there, +4 to arcane warfare, +4 to chaos. What else we got here? I showed you that one. Okay, now check this out. The Shield of St. Viticus, +4 to physical warfare rolls. And if you remember, over there in Avalon, like way up there, like where Hope's Reach is, there's a thing called Tower of St. Viticus. So this is a shield that St. Viticus carried. So again, tying in all that lore for you with all of the loot in the game. And it's thing is, I'd love to show you all this stuff. There's one of the charms. There's the Fabled Charm. Again, it's going to be a lot higher to add to all those attributes. And what else? I'll show one more for this, because I know this video is running long, but hopefully you're finding this very interesting. Bow of Angelic Fury. And this is a great one for your archer. +4 to arcane warfare rolls, +3 damage, and the buff is, I think it was a +1 hide, +1 to willpower. Very, very killer bow. And you know what I did? That was, oops. Actually, that's good, because we were going to wrap this up. That's legendary epic. So I accidentally grabbed that. But we're moving into that right now. So let me get this out. Okay, so I showed you that one. It's a very cool axe I want to show you that Sean painted. So Bow of Angelic Fury, and look at this. So I gave him my prototype. I had prototype for all these cards, and this axe is like hellaciously powerful. And I said the name of the axe is Axe of 1,000 Deaths. There's the final Axe of 1,000 Deaths. Isn't that like crazy? Hopefully that should be in focus, right? But it has like all these like skulls and faces. There it goes. Look at that. Sean, that was absolutely amazing. Very powerful. +1 to evade, +1 to strength, +4 to chaos warfare rolls, +3 damage. And high cost, but this is a great axe. Again, legendary. Very, very cool. Well, you know, we haven't really showed any spiritual, or yeah, spiritual stuff. So this would be good for your cleric or your priest. This is a scepter, and +3 damage, +4 to the spiritual warfare rolls. Those are the orange dice. +1 to willpower, +1 to wisdom. So the Kingslayer would be good for your priest or your cleric hero. There's that. And Magister treads. There's some boots. There's some armor. This would be very good for your mage, or yeah, Zeke, or the warlock, Korath. Or again, you could give this to the barbarian, and that will boost up his arcane, so he's better versed or proficient if he has to fight a monster or creature who is versed very well in arcane warfare. There's the Eternal Guardian. Very good. Sean, I know, did that one. Amazing work. And there's one for you. Grips of the Shadow Realm. How do you like that? That's a mythical, totally mythical. You know, good for your rogue or your bard. And yes, there is a bard in the game. How about one more? Well, I know you saw pictures of this one, but there's Staff of Destroyed Worlds. Very powerful staff right there. And so we leave on. Well, we'll leave with this. Well, I mean, with the legendary stuff, I meant. This is a killer amulet. Again, we were just talking about amulets. Amulet of the Magi. Look at that. Amazing. Look how powerful that is. +5. Mythical and arcane. High cost, 800 gold though, but legendary. So that is the legendary stuff. Oh, but let me show you this flavor text before we go. An amulet crafted by a powerful sorcerer in Chapel Hill. Again, tying in all that lore over there, like where Castle Blackwood is, but to the right, that is the village of Chapel Hill. So you know that there is an enchanter in Chapel Hill that crafted this. Again, just trying to tie all that in for you. And now we're going to end. This is the last two tiers. And I think that what we're going to do is, because I want to end on a high note, I'm going to show you the, let me get it in order here. This is the Underworld artifacts. Again, I'm sorry we're running about a 30-minute video. I hope you enjoyed this, though. So I'm going to show you this, and I'd like to leave on a high note with like the fabled gear, because the stuff we're looking at now it's kind of malevolent. It's quite evil. So in this story I wrote, and in the game that you're going to hear definitely in the Avalon Adventure board game, I created 6 pieces of Underworld artifacts. And these things are the most powerful in the game. And the thing is, I wanted to give players a decision to make. I wanted them to really think, whether playing solo, which, you know, this is built from the ground up for solo play, or playing co-op with friends, that you really had to make a decision on to wield this stuff, okay? So this is the most powerful gear in the game, but it's very deadly. So here is Hellforged Blade, and look at the damage on that. +6 damage, +8 to physical warfare rolls. Now, see over here? 1, that's a green one, that's life force, and then that skull with the 13+. Hold that thought. We're going to get through that. We're through this, and I'm going to tell you. And then notice on the bottom, there's just the simple word hate. Here's ranged warfare, bow of demonic souls. So this bow is made out of all these demonic souls. Again, same. It's going to have all the stats, so I'm not going to repeat that. But, you know, of course, this is all going to stay the same. But this one says, the flavor text about it says agony. Grand Staff of the Undead. Hopefully that comes into focus. And on this one, soulless. Sacrificial dagger. And I think Sean did this one. That's just crazy. Again, this is a mythical. Other one was arcane. And that one, lust. The next two are Kez's that she drew, and this is just... So I gave her I said we need something called the Mace of the Blood Gods and make it violent. She went uber violent. That's just insane. This is a spiritual warfare type of weapon. And again, this one, slay. Finally, chaos. Axe of the Black Angel. And Kez, that's just, I love you, Kez. That is incredible art. Again, we can see +6, malice. So the thing about all of these underworld artifacts is, and the lore that I wrote for these 6 pieces of gear were used to commit heinous crimes for killing many people. And if this ever comes up in the blacksmith shop, when he's populating, there's a mechanic where the blacksmith will populate, new gear that he gets in. This is removed from the game. He'll never sell this. He'll never, there's no price tag on this stuff. The only way to acquire this kind of gear is through a monster drop or a treasure chest. Okay? So that is underworld artifacts. But before we go and get onto a happy note, because this stuff is very evil, this is a decision I wanted people to make. Notice the one green. That's life force. When you equip this on your hero, you can of course equip it. That's fine. But the thing is, this stuff is so wicked, it's going to require you to use life force to feed into this, to power it. And what I wanted to do was, this is of course your XP, by doing good deeds for, villagers and all that. So my point is that you have to make a decision that you're a good hero, you're a do-gooder, and you're taking life force, something that's wholesome, that is good, and you're feeding it into something bad that was used to do something bad. But here's the last thing. Notice that all of them have a skull and a 13. First of all, you have to power this. If you were going to fight, say we're over there fighting Banevik or, this Blackwood Prowler, and you're going to use this thing, you have to declare, I'm going to power this with life force. You put that in, so to speak. And then this is called a fate roll. You have to roll a d20. And if that thing is 13 or higher, your hero's soul is consumed and they're dead. They can be resurrected, but there's some repercussions for you doing that. And I absolutely love this stuff because I want people to think before they use this. If they say you're a level 4 guardian, and so you have to make a decision if you're going to do this and roll this. But then again, notice this little tag right here. Deduct the hero's level from the D20 result. So the higher the level your hero, you can deduct that to make it lower. You always want to roll low when you're making a fate roll. So I leave it your decision. If you're going to play Dungeon Crusade and you get, if you get the Bow of Demonic Souls, or you get the Grand Staff of the Undead, or the Sacrificial Dagger, or the Mace of the Blood Gods, would you power it with life force to wield something to be able to do hellacious damage? But there's a chance your hero's soul could be consumed. Throw it in the comments section. Let me know what you'd say about that. I think it was very interesting to do that. Lastly, now we're going to end on a nice note as I get these into order. The last is Fabled Gear. And these, I wrote a whole story to Dungeon Crusade. And this stuff here was owned by the characters in the story, and you get to wield it. The great thing is about this stuff is there's no bad things about it, that you can wield it, and it's definitely even more powerful than Legendary. Not as powerful as Underworld Artifacts, just under that, but still, incredible stuff. For instance, white, and all of them go up. Notice how there's gold trim on everything, letting you know that you have a piece of Fabled Gear. Luke's training sword, high gold cost though. If there's a con, it's got a high gold cost if it's in the blacksmith shop. But you can see normal white weapons will only do 1 damage. This will do 2 damage, and it has 2 warfare, like make you more proficient in physical and chaos warfare. Mallory's golden bow. Mallory is the daughter to Emperor Sylvian and Ashara, and this was a gift to her on her 13th birthday, if I remember right? Yes. So this was a gift to her on her 13th birthday. Powerful weapon. Now, I'm going to not show you everything. I'm going to keep it kind of a secret. I'll show you a piece of green gear. This is Charcy's hatchet. And there, Charcy's hatchet, 3 damage. And this tells you this has an enchantment on it, that when you're fighting a beast creature and you do damage, you can do an extra damage with this. And if the flavor text is given to Charcy by her father before his death. And so what that means is, and I'll show you something, that is, her full name is Charcy Sibrai. And when you start playing Dungeon Crusade, there she is right here in, what quest is this? I think Welcome to Castle Blackwood. That's Charcy Sibrai. And the little quick, if you don't mind, a quick origin story is, as we walk over here, there's the village of Hunter's Watch. And she lived on the outskirts with her parents. And a faction in the game known as the Blackhand Army, led by Lord Blackhand, who was a guardian in the game, killed her parents. And Charcy fled all the way across Avalon, all the way over to the Tower of the Maidens. And the Maidens of Witherbrook Forest reside in this tower. And they're a rowdy bunch of gals, and they're very fierce fighters. So the Maidens of Witherbrook Forest raised Charcy, and now she's a high-ranking captain in the Maidens of Witherbrook Forest, and she defends the land of Avalon. So she is a really cool character in the story, and she's a quest giver, and she's in the tavern tasks, which we're going to be looking at in the next videos to come. Again, I know this was a long video. I hope that you're enjoying all this. We're going to move into some I'm not going to show you everything, no spoilers. This is Ren's warbow. Again, Ren Osis is a hero in Dungeon Crusade, and kind of like Charcy's hatchet, that's 1,000 gold and plus 3 damage, and then she can do an extra damage to demonic creatures. And so real quick, we're going to shoot back over here. And Ren is right here. See the girl right there? That is Ren. And going further, if we go back to Avalon, hopefully you're enjoying all of learning about all this lore. I mean, I have written, this doesn't even scratch the surface, guys, of how much I wrote for this game. See this place right here, Ren's Crossing? There was a famous battle there. And Ren, they named it after Ren because she fought off, I don't want to say, but you'll learn in the game. But that was named after her, Ren's Crossing. So Ren is a very cool ally in the game. And she will be giving you a lot of quests. So I hope you like learning about that. We're going to finish this up here. This is a cool weapon. This is actually, it's a good weapon. This is Lord Blackhand is the leader of the Blackhand Army, and he's a guardian in the game. And hold on. Here he is right here, Freddie Lopez. I gave him some ideas what I wanted Lord Blackhand to look like, and that is Lord Blackhand right there. Hopefully it comes into focus. There he is. But notice his weapon. That is called, I called that the Trinity of Anguish. And he has that giant tower shield. And when he levels up, this is of course a guardian, you don't want that shield to activate. There's something that goes on with that shield. And definitely there's a special ability with the Trinity of Anguish. But I gave Freddie some monster designs or how I envisioned him, and Freddie just knocked it out of the park. So you could actually get his weapon and wield it. And it is very powerful. And we can see that it has a gold cost of 1,200 gold. But when I asked Sean to paint this, I came up with that, you know, like the handle and the chains and those skulls with the spikes out of them. But look at this. It has all those benefits, +3+ to spiritual warfare, physical warfare, and ranged warfare. So you could actually, your heroes can get this, and there's no bad things like underworld artifacts. So there's the Trinity of Anguish. Last thing, and we're going to wrap this up. This is, besides underworld artifact, this is a legendary piece, and blessedly, there's more fabled gear. This is one of probably the most powerful weapons in the game. Super high gold cost. It's 2,000 gold. Emperor Sylvian's battle sword. And Emperor Sylvian was the emperor over all of Avalon. And I'm not going to tell you, it's in the story what happens, but look at that. +4 damage, +5 to physical warfare, spiritual warfare, mythical warfare, and chaos warfare. And the flavor text is one of the most sought-after relics in all of Avalon. And rightly so, because it is very powerful. And we'll end with this. Emperor Sylvian now rests in, where is that? Right, see it right there, tomb of Emperor Sylvian. So guys, this was an uber long video. Holy mackerel. I hope that you liked looking at all this. We're going to come back. We're going to do some combat, maybe some other demos. But again, I know this one was long, but hopefully you found the loot very interesting. And I could have said more, believe me. But we will be back with more videos, and I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know about underworld artifacts. I'm curious to know, would you use those things in the game with your hero's soul being consumed? Let me know. Okay, guys, I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.